we are here two on one stage, representing conflict and compromise. I'm Viktoras.
I'm Gintarė.
We will try to represent acoustic and architecture. Please leave your questions and flowers till the end of presentation. Now, let's roll.
So, what do we think about when we hear customer requests of good acoustic? First thing that comes to my mind, it's material. So, that's it? Do we have acoustic now?
I'm afraid we don't. But it is not only material. It is much more complex.
So, what is acoustics? How does it relate to architecture? How does the function of the room influence what acoustic measures should be applied? Our simpler chart shows that acoustic relates to architecture through the form. The form constructed with three additives. Form is acoustic material in the right place. Form is geometry of the room. Sometimes form is fundamental structure of the room.
We have prepared some clues. It is not a rule, it is only a hint for you. We divided spaces into three types according to acoustic requirements. First type, easier one. We have offices. We have general spaces, corridors, lobbies, living spaces, small classrooms. Second one, a little bit more tricky. Auditorium, conference halls, sound studios, cinemas, rehearsal rooms, spaces with electroacoustic for rock, pop venues. And the tough one, the third one type, opera theaters, concert halls, theaters, sacred spaces, rehearsal halls.
So, let's look to the first type. Which additive will influence the form of this type of room? It's material. What is important to know about it?
As you see in the left upper corner, we have plenty room to make your decision how to use it. What is very important? Materiality and construction. Sometimes construction is more important than materiality. But in general, every acoustic material have to come with construction. Demand of absorption. Everybody knows that reverberation is the main criteria when we're talking about room acoustics. Material and capability of material to absorb sound energy plus quantity of absorbers makes direct influence to reverberation time in the room. Third one, localization.
As a rule, acoustic material have to be located in visually inconvenient places. Center of the walls, back center of the walls, all or just only a part of ceilings. Might be that there are several different materials in the different places without visual connection can be applied in the room. They can be different not only by acoustic parameters, but also visually. This type of rooms required only material in the right place. There's lots of freedom to create, but patterns, textures of acoustic materials should be foreseen by creating design concept. Because if it comes later and without planning at the design stage, they may be a foreign body or will dominate or be as unexpected accent of the room.
The third one, our zone of our decisions is smaller. It is important, not 3, but 6 characteristics. So about each one. Risk of echo, especially in rooms where reverberation is low. If we have big shapes in front of us, 70 meters or further, there can be an echo. Echo isn't reverberation. Echo isn't echoing. It is very clear, a very, very straight sound reflected from the back wall. Usually you can find it in theaters, back wall of the theaters, concert halls, even conference rooms. Third one, orientation. Orientation, it is important if we want to redirect, reflect, or even diffuse sound in our space. Shape.
The acoustic shell has to be formed in this type of rooms. It makes direct influence to an interior. Acoustic requirements bring sharp, expressive form to the room. There are several ways to develop the visual concept. Active way, visually highlight the form. Passive ways, flatten and mask forms with the colors, textures. Or choose acoustic constructions that do not only absorb diffuse sound, but also provide masking of the sharp shapes of acoustics. But it is necessary to notice that the masking construction will take the space on the walls or ceilings anyway.
The third one. Most challenging and the hardest one. All we have here, have to be here. Our decision zone is critically small. It is surrounded by structure, geometry, materials. Volume per person. Every type of room has acoustical type room has his own requirement for volume. For example, if we have theater, we need about 4-5 cubic meters per person. In the same time, with the same auditory, in concert hall, we have to ensure at least 9 cubic meters per person. The same auditory, doublet volume. Auditory layout. Bad sightline equals to bad direct sound. Vice versa. Too sharp amphitheater leads to sound energy loss. And the last one, most tricky, room and object proportions.
For acoustic needs, it's extremely important to ensure correct room proportions. Ratio of the room height, width, and length. Other elements like balconies, galleries, stages also make direct influence to the room acoustics. If the main proportions of the room are incorrect, they have to be adjusted. All architectural elements like balconies, galleries, lodges has to be fixed by acoustic needs and be adjusted. Narrowing, tilting, increasing, shortening, all these changes relate each to other. All these changes usually destroy already designed architectural structures. Acoustic needs make the biggest influence to the architecture in this type of rooms. It changes the structure. So if you are planning this type of room, I can't imagine any other way but to invite an acoustic consultant as soon as you start working on architectural concept of the building.
In summary, we all agree that the face of the room is very important. but please.
So, please, close your eyes sometimes and hear the space you are in.
Sorry for the noise. And now we're waiting for questions and flowers. Thanks.